Hey guys, what's going on? It's Aldo. I haven't been in the booth in a while, and I'm here with my homeboy, Claudio, Alex Claudio. We're going to be doing a 2 and 30, so it's 2 topics in 30 minutes. We're going to do a podcast, and the topics we're doing is the Tall Girl movie on Netflix that came out earlier in September that had a bunch of outrage, and also the New York basketball scene. And since it's coming up in a month, we thought we'd give you a little insight into what's going on there, and that's why Claudio's here. He's a basketball guy, and honestly, if we keep seeing, if we see that this is something that we like to do, we could just keep doing different topics.
Yeah, I texted Aldo a couple days ago about this, and we both kind of have interest in starting podcasts in the future, so I think this was a good way to kind of get us some reps, and also to kind of keep us limited to just 15 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, he did mention that. So we're going to start off with Tall Girl.
Are we ready to set the timer?
All right, set that timer.
All right, so 3, 2, 1, Tall Girl right now.
Okay, so let me just hear what you have to say. So I'm a big cinephile, so I just want to hear what you have to say.
You're a cinephile, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so I watched Tall Girl for the first time last night, and I will have to say, through the first half of the movie, I thought the movie was absolutely horrendous. It was an absolute abomination of
Just
a movie.
The first half?
Well, the first half, right? So the first half, it was the dialogue, the writing, the way that the characters just like talk to each other, just the cringiness.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle.
It was like a bad High School Music.
Now, I wouldn't know about the first half. I would say the first 2/3. And then the last 1/3 of it, the last 33%, it was still terrible, but it was a little bit better. Especially the way they wrapped up the movie, I thought that was okay. I like, if you want to get really into the details, I really like the milk crate thing, even though I was making fun of it.
That's what that, I do. Spoiler alert, like the milk crate, that's symbolic, and it comes into the ending, and it's like really cute, and it's like a fun time. I mean, the romantic side of me liked it, but the movie part, it felt like it was just a really shitty version of The Breakfast Club, but it was obviously the characters. Yeah. It was like a really, really superficial version of High School Musical, which is like even harder. It's like more superficial, but that's even tough because High School Musical like was stupid in itself. And I guess the worst part about this whole outrage is that this is the line that everybody is freaking out about. It's like, you think your life is hard. Jody says this. So let me give you the synopsis. When the tallest girl in high school falls for a handsome foreign exchange student, she becomes embroiled in surprising love triangle and realizes she is far from her insecurities about her height and have led her to believe. This girl's only 6'1". So she's not like 6'8". She's not 6'9". Like, this is ridiculous. Like, it was like, they have a movie like this where a tall girl has a hard time falling in love, and it's called Love and Basketball. And that girl fell in love with a tall guy, too. This is just stupid. And let me just give you background. Jody is a white, tall, 6'1" girl, and I think she's like in high school for ants, because everyone there is not even 6 foot, breaks 6 foot. Like, she makes this 6'1" girl tower over these guys, like, that are... It's just there's everyone there. I guess the medium age is like the average age is just like 5'7" or 5'8", because it's just like not even. It's not even
that. If they made her taller than I feel like there was maybe a couple 6'1" girls in our own high school, and no one even had any problem.
I don't think anyone really
maybe
cared.
5'11", and no one was going up into the hallway saying, "How's the weather up there?" Over and over again. The cringiest thing. It was horrendous. Everything about the dialogue was horrendous.
So it's just
the way they interact with each other.
It wasn't a good time. And well, the thing is, what a lot of people from Twitter have taken over is that the line that Jody says, "You think your life is hard? I'm a high school junior, wearing size 13 Nikes, men's size 13 Nikes. Beat that." The fact that she said, "You think your life is hard."
Yeah.
The fact
I saw
that
some of the responses.
Some of the responses, there was one who was like, "I'm bisexual. I can't even afford Crocs, let alone." One of them said, "I'm a Mexican in America."
Yeah.
One woman said that she was Muslim. Yeah. It was just a bunch of stuff.
There was a bunch of videos. It became viral.
It became
But here's the thing. It got too much, though, because that was funny, right? The people making fun of it were funny.
Right.
But then people really started making like op-ed pieces that really took the movie seriously. And I was like, first off, the movie could have been G-rated, because maybe PG, because no one cursed. There was even like barely anything talk of sex or anything like that. Right. It was a very non-raunchy movie.
Yeah.
And they were taking this horrendously, first off, movie, just the whole thing. The whole thing was a joke. It was cringy, but they're taking this.
It made it serious.
It made it really serious,
yeah.
And that's their problem. That's their problem.
That's what, like, I guess the director says. So the director's black.
Okay.
So, and that's why a lot of people were like, how could Netflix come out? Well, like, the biggest outrage is, like, out of all the things going on in the world now, and with the president that we have now, and a lot of the social injustices that are happening now, how could Netflix allow this movie to escape, especially after their huge, insatiable TV series, that, like, that is a whole thing. After all that, how could they let this white girl who, again, by the way, Jodie, like I was trying to say, that she's rich, she's white, and she's tall, and I would understand maybe if she was ugly, maybe she had some acne problems, I'd be like, okay, I could see. She's beautiful. Like, she's a gorgeous girl.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is, she's just tall, and they made up a minimal problem out of nothing, and I guess the director's black, so people got upset. It's like, and one person wrote, before you try to kill something, know who you're killing. And just because she's black, I don't think she really gets a pass here, because it's still, like, I feel like, hot take, I think she just sold out to get a movie on Netflix. Because she knew that the demo is, again, with rom-coms in these early teens, are white girls. Like, white girls are watching these things. Like, a lot of them fall into this trap and fall into this demo. So I felt like she kind of sold out. The director kind of helps in the sense of, like, when she retaliates and kind of says, like, listen, not all problems in the world have to be your problems. And this movie... You don't have to make a movie just based on your problems. Like, there are other people's problems out there. Because on Twitter, there was a 50... it was more of like an 80-20. The 20% saying that this movie did help me because I'm a tall girl. But the other tall girls were like, I really never had this.
Look, I'm not going to try to undermine the problem that this girl has. Now, the way it's portrayed in the movie, it's absolutely ridiculous.
I think the way that they handled it in the movie was
but
stupid.
the thing is, this is my problem, right? It's this girl has this problem, right? It's uncomfortable for her to be this way, all of this. And the way that people treat her in her school, it's her problem. Now, that doesn't mean being a Muslim in America or Mexico, where all those more serious problems aren't
not problems anymore.
There are millions of, I mean, I'm not going to say there's many, but those problems are being talked about in national media and all that. It's a stupid movie on Netflix that's awfully directed, awful dialogue, awful everything, and they're taking this and they're trying to say, well, if this is on Netflix, that means they're thinking that problem is bigger than ours. Like, no, this is a problem that a typical high school problem that they're just, making a bigger deal of.
Right.
But doesn't mean you don't have. That doesn't mean that your problems aren't still problems.
Right. No, but I think what happens is, and I think a lot of people forget, and I think this is why people are kind of confused, why people even care, is because we kind of also, in a world, we kind of also take the movies and the shows that we watch, since, like, movies and pop culture of like that and the streaming services are all in our lives every day. They take to Twitter and they take to Instagram and they become societal memes.
Yeah. And
sometimes the underlying messages, like, baffle people. Like, for example, Get Out. Get Out was a societal phenomenon. People fell in love with it. Right. People kind of pushed that. What I'm saying is that people felt like this is what Netflix was trying to become. Like, I'm not saying Get Out, but they was trying to push an agenda or something, or try to outline a societal flaw. Which, and I guess another people will have to understand is, like, it is a flaw, but it's not so huge on a huge scope to get this upset about. But I am kind of upset on the way that this had a lot of potential, in the sense that, like, her best friend's black and her other friend is a nerd. Now, the nerd could have been bullied from society, could have been, suicidal, and maybe the black girl, they didn't really ever, the black girl from the start to finish of the movie constantly shows, like, she has a lot of pride in herself and her culture. She's very comfortable in her own skin.
Yes.
And it's because, and they don't even talk, it's easy for a person, like, for example, myself, I'm comfortable in my own skin because I know this is the skin I was born in. No one's going to change me. I can't change. The only thing I can do is be happy. I can't let people victimize me, and I can't victimize myself. That's how this person basically comes off as. But they never talked about that in the movie. Like, They never had this girl ever say, hey, there are crazy problems in the world. My best friend is an example of that. That's how I'm going to get over this, because I have to be strong if other people are strong, and I know I'm not alone in this. The only reason this movie ends is because not to be too much of a spoiler, none of those topics get talked about, like cultural indifferences, racial barriers.
It was almost too PG.
It was almost too PG.
Right. They barely talked about any of these problems. And the character progression, what I thought too, like kind of what we were talking about, the character progression was absolutely horrendous. I'll give you an example. The Stieg character, the beautiful... The Swedish
guy. Because she falls in love with a foreign exchange student who turns out to be 6'3" or something.
The progression of him becoming the nice guy, he was all nice. Like, I would say 85% of the movie... And then they just
in 2 minutes, he became the villain.
In 2 minutes, it's like, he wasn't the villain. He wasn't at all. Like, what? Because he was, like, at this party, and he's like really cringy and like almost in a health movie type of way.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I was just joking around. I was just.
I never really liked her.
Right.
She just kept jocking me, dude.
That was
like,
the first time that guy came off as a villain, and that was literally 90 to 95% into the movie.
It was like super, and I just want you to know, it was off screen. The only way that it's being shown is through like a video from the night before. Again, maybe I should just say spoiler alert and everything, but it's just, it does, like, the filming was terrible. So that's why I have a lot of criticism with this movie, because it had a lot of potential, especially her being a black like director, and after seeing what Spike Lee just did and what a lot of black directors in the business and in the industry are doing right now. Like, Sorry to Bother You, we went to go watch that. Black Klansman.
No, that's a great movie.
Yeah, so those kinds of movies that are coming out now, and you're just like, and then you come out with Tall Girl, it's kind of a spit. Like, it's kind of like you just spit it in my face, I feel. Like, I feel like you really just did not really progress or really talk about a topic. I get the Tall Girl would have been a thing. Would have been a better thing is, instead of, and I feel like this is what could have been a huge thing, she kind of ends up doing this towards the end, but she doesn't do it at the scale of the audience. Like, the director always has to feel that it can take a step back and see the best directors take a step back and see the point of view of their characters through the audience. And sometimes they see the ridiculousness, or sometimes they see their wildness. And depending on how the best director handles that, comes out with a better movie. This director never really stood out and put himself in the audience of a white girl or just a normal society, because not just white girls are going to be watching this, and just said, okay, maybe we should talk about something more complicated, like how people are kind of focusing on not getting good grades. Like, I saw a tweet that really could have just made the movie a little bit better. Like, how does this one girl who's a junior in high school have all this time to give a shit about her being tall when she should be focusing on taking the SATs?
Right.
That's
like also like, what are the other problems?
Right, like,
they're all really not busy after school. And it's like, what are you talking about?
Like, this follows her from, and I don't understand. And it's like, when that's how the ridiculous, this team doesn't, I guess this movie just doesn't have a basketball team. Like, I guess she just couldn't do basketball.
Never mentioned, right?
You can assume that, like, and the only reason you can assume that this woman is rich is because her parents have tried multiple times to look into the best doctors to stunt her growth.
Well, look at the houses that I've ever in the movie too.
The house that she lives in is awesome.
Both what's the guy's name was Dunkers, right? His house was beautiful too.
I was confused because even the dad has, I guess, doesn't have a job or something. But the older sister, like, is a pageant, like, she's a pageantress and she goes to community college.
Can I tell you one thing? That older sister, every time she was in a scene, it was the cringiest thing.
Yeah. No, she was not horrendous. A good actress. She was not a good actress.
She was horrendous. I don't know her name. I don't want to blast her or anything. That girl was the cringiest.
Her name was Harper in the movie.
Horrendous. Harper, every scene she was in, I don't know how else to say it. It was awful. I cringed every time. And she was in the movie a lot in the first half. And she wasn't that much in the second half, and you saw the difference. Because
if the movie was maybe like, I think your take on the whole thing, and that I kind of overlooked, that's actually pretty. If the movie wasn't PG-13, I mean, not PG, but maybe PG-13, and it kind of kind of tiptoed on the line of like actual serious problems, and kind of was satirical and ironic in identifying its own ridiculousness, it would have been a better movie.
The tone was off.
The tone was off. It felt like it was like serious. Like, oh my god, this is so serious. Like, because they're talking about kissing and doing all this stuff, and they're kind of like winking at doing more than just kissing.
Right, but they'll wink at it. It's the cringiest. Like, what the hell am I watching? I thought this is Netflix.
It goes from that to then just being like, oh, okay, back to what I was saying. Like, do you want to come over and like play the piano and like sing together? Like, I'm like,
I wanted to die.
What are we doing? What are we saying to each other?
I wanted to die at that whole movie. The first half, you were getting my text. I was like, I can't do this. I could not do it. I don't know what was keeping me, because I was just like, what is this movie? Because also, I think I told you, the first take I had, 2 minutes left here, is that 10 minutes into the movie, I knew the plot.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, so she's going to end up with Dunkers.
Yeah,
and she's going to end up with Dunkers. I was like, great, so now I have to watch this for the next hour and a half, knowing that this is the end.
Right.
And I was like, how are they gonna do this? Because I was like, well, there's really no bad guy other than the stereotypical whatever her name was.
Yeah, the weird girl.
Right,
yeah.
But like I was like, why did they do that? Like, the Stieg was a good guy, and then the last scene before she goes off for Dunkers, she's like, yeah, or something like, but not with you. I was like, and then she walks. I was like, why? Speak was a nice guy. He's
Right?
just getting like, he's just. I don't understand why they made him the bad guy.
Also, another reason what we kind of overlooked, like not to nitpick here, another reason, the guy, because Dunkers ends up finding a girl who likes Dunkers for him.
What about that girl?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like Dunkers, this girl
She
liked
was
her.
so
Like,
nice.
she liked his art. She liked how Dunkers carried around a milk crate. She found Dunkers intriguing. She went and hung out with him all the time.
Right.
She was, and the word again. She was his size, so like it was just like all these things were going for Dunkers, and I was like, Dunkers, bro, like I'm sorry, man, like you kind of have to let the tall girls kind of like be tall and let them go away. It was just too much. I felt like that was the one that
like her character progression. Her only point in that story now was basically to leak to Jody, the main character, that Dunkers stood up for her.
Yeah,
but I was like, that guy just dumped you, and you basically now were completely fine with it. You kind of gave him like a pat on the knee, like, it's going to be great, buddy.
That should be more of a reason for Dunkers to be like, okay, yeah, I'm coming back to you. Like, that was way too nice. You didn't have to do that. And then just be like, I shouldn't even be with Jody.
Right, and then Jody just strings him along for 9 years, it seems like.
Even after that, Jody was kind of like, that's kind of nice. But like, it took Dunkers had it. Dunkers was playing it too.
I just, last 15 seconds here. The movie was horrendous. Watch it because it's hilarious. It's hilariously horrendous, especially if you're watching with somebody else. It's great. It's a great laugh.
Yeah. I think mine, in the last 3 seconds, I think the outrage is justified. That is my take. That is my final take. All right.
That's it. All right, so we're going to come back in about a couple minutes. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about New York. All right, guys. Here, once again, for topic number 2. We're going to be talking about New York basketball.
All right, so the once again part is because we were recording and then Alex's dog started barking and just ruined up all the content that we had.
Like in the last 2 minutes.
It was ridiculous.
All right, so hopefully that doesn't happen. If it does happen again, I think we should just keep going.
I think I'm going to just go off.
Well, we'll go off, we'll rage, and then we'll just keep going. Yeah. Sorry for any future problems. We got stuff to do. We're busy men.
We're busy.
All right, so I'm going to start the timer.
New York basketball.
2, 1.
Bang. All right, the timer's on. 15 minutes, go.
Let's talk about the New York Knicks.
Knicks City, baby.
Now, I know there's been a lot of Knicks fans in my life that I have been hazing. Well, not really hazing, because that might be a little too R-rated. I've been, I would say...
You're bashing. You're bashing them.
Trolling on Twitter.
You're trolling them.
Now, this is the reason why.
A lot of statements are said.
Because I've heard all my life. All my life. That's not all my life.
All my life.
So I'm a fan.
Like,
that this is a Knicks town.
This is dramatic as hell. All right.
Yeah, this is
all right. A lot. Go off, King.
And thank you. And now they got we got KD, Kyrie. We got them instead of the Knicks. It's not like we beat I don't know, the Spurs, the Mavericks. We beat the team 20 minutes away from
in the same block. All right.
So, but I'm gonna be nice.
Block hot.
I'm going to be nice. You know why? Because I'm actually kind of decently high on the Knicks this year. Over-under for the Knicks, the New York Knickerbockers, is 26.5.
The Knickerbockers. Okay.
26.5. And to be honest with you, I kind of like the over.
You're going to think some more. So do you think they're going to win 27 games?
I think it's realistic. Am I going to bet it? No, because I'm going to bet probably. If I had anything, I'm going to bet the under because it's funny to root against them.
Okay.
But I honestly think they have a better chance of hitting their over than the Nets do at 44.5.
All right.
But that does not mean I can't still bash them because they're going to still be a terrible basketball team this year. So basically, this is what I'm going to do.
I don't know. All reports say that they're not going to be that bad. That's what I was trying to say.
You know who's throwing it out there?
The Knicks beat guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's a good guy.
The Knicks, this is what they're going to do. They're going to be a bad basketball team, but I think they're going to be a lot more fun than last year.
I think that was the biggest problem. I think it's a very sour taste, but I mean, at the same time, the minute that they didn't get any of the guys that they wanted to get, they completely moved on. And those guys, RJ Barrett hasn't really, the summer league situation, that guy, Alonzo Trier, I like that guy a lot.
Alonzo Trier.
Yeah, Trier, that guy's sick. He can create his own shot. You got guys that are really young that were raw. And again, like I was saying, is that the Knicks constantly play around one person. And they've always put themselves in a situation.
Well, Carmelo and Amari Stoudemire and Tyson.
And
then big three, kind of.
Porzingis was a thing for a really long time. And it was just situation where like none of these guys really got a chance to really breathe, and then now that they brought on new guys and other guys are not injured anymore,
Right.
this was an injury thing.
These younger players have a chance to breathe now because the expectations for them are relatively low. Now there's no Melo on their team. There's no Porzingis. There's really no expectations for them to perform this year, and I think it will be great. Especially, I think the Nets thing is really good for the Knicks because the Nets are up a level.
Yeah,
and I think some of the pressure because a lot of the attention is going to be on the Nets this year.
Yeah,
and the Knicks are going to be kind of be able to.
They don't want to be the laughing stock.
Right, and I think a lot of people are going to kind of let the Knicks kind of do their thing.
Exactly,
develop their players. That's why I think what they've also had trouble with because not because they're
and
fans,
Knicks fans know this too.
But like a lot of pressure is like, the Knicks should always be good, and they don't really get a chance to really kind of set back and do a couple-year rebuild because people are like, they want to win because the Knicks haven't won in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Nets being good allows them to kind of take a step back from the limelight. Let guys like R.J. Barrett, Kevin Knox.
Those are your guys?
My biggest guy is Mitchell Robinson. I love that guy. I'm telling you, that guy's going to be a good rim protector. And I honestly think that guy could be on eventually an all-NBA defensive team.
Okay.
He's got to first know not how to foul out in 20 minutes.
Okay.
But I think once that's stuff that's fixable, and that's what they should be doing is doing what the Nets did and finally figuring out how
follow
to
his Nets.
Yeah, that's what they did because they basically laid out the blueprint for the Knicks, and people are saying that too.
Oh, this is why you like the Knicks because they're doing what the Nets did.
They should because they should full on player development. That's what the Nets did.
Okay.
That's what they build on the team culture and player development. And
that has been a big thing. They never do player development. I think
no.
So now you have to now put in a system, right? Just show them how to play basketball, or do you just throw in the ball and say shoot or shoot and let everyone shoot and get some type of?
There's got to be some structure, but there should be the structure should be like don't be afraid to fail. Right, go out there, and that's what they did with the Nets. Right, they let the Brook Lopez essentially go out there and develop a 3-point shot when they were going to be bad anyways. You also try to let them do things that they're not comfortable with doing, but that means in turn they're getting better at those things.
Right.
Let's see what Mitchell Robinson can do. Maybe in a post up, they can maybe develop his post game a little bit. Maybe let him. I don't know. Let's see if he can has any touch from a free throw line or anything.
Okay.
Right. Let's see what he can do.
In the midi.
Let's not focus on threes just yet with Mitchell Robinson. All right, because you have some other players like Kevin Knox, who I really like. I like his body. I like him out of Kentucky.
Everyone says Kevin Knox is good, and then everyone says Kevin Knox is bad, and then Kevin Knox does something where he goes against Zion, and then Zion and Kevin Knox Zion took Kevin Knox's lunch, and it was a whole...
No, that's the type of year he had. He was a very roller coaster year, and the fans could never really figure him out. I couldn't really figure him out, but he's still young. I think he's one of the youngest players coming out of the draft. And he's from Kentucky. Those guys usually come out decent pros. I believe in Kevin Knox. Do I think he's going to be an all-NBA guy? No. But I think he could be possibly like the third best player on a really good playoff team.
Okay, so now we know that we have the offense.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They have optimism.
My conversation is now defensive side
Mitchell
too.
Robinson.
Okay,
he's all defense.
Reggie Bullock isn't he like a defensive guy too?
He's a 3D guy, but he's older.
Okay,
I liked him out of the draft. He never.
Isn't Taj a huge?
Yeah, he's a defensive guy, but he's not. Obviously, he's older, and he's not going to be. Basically, what Taj is going to be there to do is to help the younger guys really embrace defense.
So put the professionals around him and make them...
Right, and be like, look, this is how you become a professional.
Okay.
That's what Taj is there for, and that's kind of what Marcus Morris is there for. That's why he's being paid. Also, so they don't lose a million games. Also, that's why they have Marcus Morris in there.
Oh, God.
But it's true. I mean, he was really good this last year. I really thought he was a good pickup, and I think they're going to be able to flip him for an asset eventually at the deadline or two. Those guys, right, everyone's saying, like, those contracts they gave out were, awful. I honestly think that they'll be able to flip a couple, especially Marcus Morris. Taj Gibson might be a little tough, but these guys are going to be given the opportunity to play big minutes and get numbers, and maybe that could fool a team that's really desperate for a defensive player like Taj Gibson coming off the bench. I mean, to be honest with you, if a year or two from now, the Nets could use a power forward that's defensive minded. So a little cross count trade they'll never happen. But
I think after all the things that you've said, I don't think the Knicks will do any business.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's a couple factors. It really depends on how their second-year guys or their third-year guys really develop this year. Dennis Smith Jr.'s got to find a way to shoot better than 40% from the field, 30% from three-point line. Julius Randle, I love that contract for him. I think...
Oh, you love it now?
I do. People hated it.
You kind of laughed too. You were kind of on the laughing side.
You know why? Because I laughed at it because it's funny because the Knicks were trying to spin it. The Knicks fans were trying to spin it as like it's okay we didn't get KD and Kyrie. We got Julius Randle. I think it was a good signing, but let's cut out the salt part of it, okay? Let's not be like, oh well, I really didn't want KD and Kyrie anyway because those guys are injury prone. You guys wanted them, all right? You guys wanted them, all right? So let's stop the BS with that, all right? Okay. Julius Randle is a really good pickup from him. I think he deserved that contract. He balled out in New Orleans. He's a younger player that they could even get better. I like that contract for them. I believe it's technically 3 years, but I believe it's only 2. I think the last year is, I don't know, some type of weird guarantee, or maybe don't quote me on that. But I really do. It really depends. Like I said, Dennis Smith Jr.'s got to be a little bit more efficient. He's got to learn how to play point guard position a little bit more. Frankie Nicotine, the French all-star, like he balled out in the World Cup this past couple weeks. Put Kemba on locks in FIBA. Let's see if that translates a little bit.
Clamps.
I like Damian Dotson a lot. I think he has some 3-and-D potential. I've said that to some Knicks fans in the past. I like that guy as a potential 7th or 8th man off the bench.
Yeah, the reason I'm being quiet right now is because I'm looking for these blasphemous tweets that you had back in the day.
What, 2 months ago?
Yeah, I'm looking.
About the
Were
Nets.
they 2 months? Weren't they in July?
It was in July, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking for them. You keep going. So let's talk about the Nets, though. So now let's segue to the Nets, because those are your Nets. You talked about the Knicks. I think for the most part, you were pretty nice on the Knicks.
I was very nice.
I think you... Now I'm going to find the tweets that basically show that you weren't nice, but I'm going to show that now, how you fake, but I'm going to show that... I want you to talk about the Nets, because you have a lot of things. So what I'm saying is the highlights have been that Kyrie's face has been completely broken off.
That's false.
They broke it off his face.
That's
his
false.
face is somewhere in the gym. They are looking for it. So apparently a fan picked up the face and brought it around and has it. There was a lost and found looking for his face.
Shams Guisse right here.
This is what I'm trying to figure out.
Don't watch.
Don't watch. And then KD allegedly, the GM came out and said, KD, we don't care if he plays during the season.
No, he's not expected to play.
We don't really. It's not a rush. So
the Nets over under is 44 and a half. And going into the season, before I even saw it, I thought it was their ceiling. Not ceiling. I think my expectation was between 43 and 46 wins. Will it shock me if they get to 48, 49? No. Would it shock me if they get to 38? A little bit, but no. I think they're going to be a really good team. I think that last year's team won 42 games, and now you're adding Kyrie instead of D'Angelo Russell. That should be an upgrade. You get Karras coming off a really healthy offseason. Really a huge blessing that knee injury he had in November wasn't like one of those Paul Georges. It was almost like a dislocation. So he's coming in healthy, and the way he was playing in the playoffs and the way he played before that injury was borderline all-star. Very good defensive player as well. You're hoping for another jump from him. Jared Allen, I'm hoping that he becomes a better offensive weapon, that he's able, not even like post player, but he's able to catch the ball and then actually dunk it, because sometimes that was actually kind of a problem for him, actually catching the ball sometimes. He's very talented. He's got a lot of touch. He's got actually a really good free throw percentage for a 7-footer. He was actually out there trying to shoot some threes a little bit last year in the beginning. I like him a lot. I hope he's going to take a step up. You got DeAndre Jordan as basically the replacement for Ed Davis.
Yeah, I like DeAndre.
DeAndre Jordan's going to be, I think, a good player for them. He wasn't that great on the Knicks though last year. On the Mavericks, they were happy to get rid of him. I'm looking for a little rejuvenation from him. If at the very least he's the backup. I think he's a very qualified backup center. They're going to miss some of their guys that they lost last year with Damari Carroll, even Dudley. Those guys are really professionals. They really helped the program turn around. But my expectations for the Nets is, for Kyrie to really put a chip on his shoulder and ball out this year. I like him as a sneak fantasy guy this year. I think a sneak. I don't know what he's being drafted, but if you can get him, as your third player off the board, I would take that. I think he's going to put up big numbers. You got Taurean Prince as a guy that got even a salary dump.
Yeah.
Who's a very good. I think he's going to start at one of their forwards for them. He's the ultimate 3-and-D guy, and you're hoping he takes a step up because he's still relatively young. And just these guys, you just want to take another step up, like they've been taking a step up the past couple of years. You give them another level, and then eventually, Kevin Durant to that mix, and then you got basically the Nets versus the Bucks.
So this is all depending if Kyrie doesn't get inflated.
Devil's advocate.
this happens if Kyrie basically doesn't fall apart and talk about how the Earth is actually a square, or
He can do all I want. Just don't.
and then
do
he
the
tells
chemistry
everybody,
He can do
it's
all-
everyone's fault except for his, and then that's
I don't know.
and then it's
Some of those.
all that. So you're okay with Kyrie? You think Kyrie's going to have a normal, level-headed season? By the way, I looked up on Twitter to see what the blasphemy was. It was baby blasphemy. It's basically he was laughing out loud. Nothing that crazy, but a lot of it was said in person, and I don't have any record of it, so it could be considered as slander because there's no proof. But it was pretty crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. He was hating. He was hating hard.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. The Nets, right? Kyrie. This is a make or break year for Kyrie for his legacy. I really think he understands that. I think if he's as smart as people were saying he was coming out of Cleveland when he came to Boston, saying he's a very smart playmaker. He's like, he's only averaged 6 assists because he's playing LeBron. He actually could pass too, and you see that.
All right, question. Do you think this is my other question? So I'm going to put you on the spot now. Are you
2 minutes?
Okay, so question: do you think the Nets win a championship with KD and Kyrie until their contract ends? Their first
For next 4 years.
without the first 4 years.
Do I think that?
Do you think they will win?
If KD comes back 90 to 95%, I believe they will be in the NBA Finals.
Okay, they'll be in the finals, but do you think they'll ever win a championship with them on the team?
I don't know, but I'll say yes. It's tough. I'm not going to be.
You have to say yes or no.
I'm not going to be a homer and say you
have to either say yes. I don't know. Yes, could come back and be
yes.
yes. All right, yes.
I'll go on the record. Next 4 years they'll win a championship. If KD comes back healthy enough.
Okay. All right, and then who do you think has a better year, the Knicks or the Nets this year?
Are you
on the record? I want to put it on the record.
Are you trying to trigger me right now?
No, I'm not going to try to trigger you. I'm just trying to put it on the record. Yes, on the record.
I am 150,000% confident the Nets are going to have more wins than the Knicks.
Okay.
I don't think any Knicks fan will dispute that.
I'm not doing
except for the.
I'm just waiting for the possibility that I don't know, something happens that
I think even without Kyrie this year,
Kyrie slips on.
They're still a better team. Than the Knicks.
So without well, see. Well,
without Kyrie this year, they're still a better team.
All right, we'll see.
The infrastructure's there. But the Knicks are going to have a good year. I think they're going to have a good year, as in
a better year than last year.
Well, more wins, but realistically, more development. You're going to see R.J. Barrett hopefully play for them at a more efficient level. He's probably going to struggle a little bit in the beginning, like he did in the summer league. Mm-hmm. But by the end of the year, you're hoping that Knox, R.J. Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, Dennis Smith Jr., and maybe Frankie Nicotine can those are building blocks. They're either building blocks that you can build around, where you could say, hey, free agents, you want to play with these guys. Like the Nets did with Karis LeVert, Allen. I mean, make the Knicks respectable, have a drama-free year without all these all-stars and egos. Go put your head down and play basketball and develop your guys.
That's basically it. We'll obviously come back and talk about the topic as the season progresses, but this is just a 1 month out preview to see what's happening.
So every week, we're going to do 2 topics. He picks one. He picked Tall Girl. I picked the New York basketball scene. It could be anything that's going to range from any topic. It doesn't have to be sports or movies. That's just the 2 topics we picked.
Of course.
I think this went pretty well, and we're definitely going to see you guys next week.
Absolutely. See you guys.